Luke is just measuring across the bottom of the ply there that I put in to cut that off to then allow him to insulate this floor. So he'll be putting all the ducting in that we've already talked about in previous episodes across there, 50mm PIR insulation, and then a 100mm over the top of that, giving us a 150. And then ultimately that gives us about a 40 mil, something like that screed, doesn't it? Liquid screed.
Yeah.
44, I think, is the optimum. I'm sure Martin could correct me on that one, but I'm sure he said it's about 40 mil, 44 mil is the optimum. On top of there. So that's that. So we're cutting it down just so we can get in to see the finished floor level really and get all that prepped. So that's what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I am doing this. I'll be putting these 12mm tile backer boards. I haven't used them before. They weigh a ton. If you use them all the time, fair play to you. So I've got some adhesive and some primer, and we're going to put that on that wall there. And we are also going to replace this, as I remember me saying, just replace that up to probably that board there, just because it's going to be within the shower area, and I want to make sure it's as it should be. We've already had our tiler come out, and he's going to come and he's giving a price to the customer. Not got involved in that. Hopefully he'll be coming to do the job because he's very good at what he does, and we might capture a little bit of that when he's here. So I'll get this done and prepped for Matt. So when he comes back tomorrow, he can start bonding all this in and get that done. We've got to get him some timber, which we can get today, just to form that. If you remember, we're going to leave that until the window comes to form that down here, and then return back to that window. So we'll get that done. Then we can fill that again in more insulation because it's dropped out of there. Look. And while I'm doing this, Matt is in here at my house, very kindly plastering. I'm going to call it my bar, but it used to be my workshop. I used to have a little workshop here, and before I put these doors in, and this little bit of decking here used to be where I put my big saw. But there we are. I don't do anything like that anymore, any kind of joinery stuff. So I converted it into a bar 5 years ago, but I've insulated it all with insulated plasterboard, and I'm going to decorate it again now. So Matt's make it look nice. Look at the lovely road he's done as well. Look at that. You can see it in the camera. Lovely. So I don't know if they should be happy about this or not, but it's decided that Matt's decided that Luke needs to have a go at plastering, almost at my expense, we could say, couldn't we? So you've seen me do a bit of bricking, and then Luke went back over and put them all right after. So this is what's going to happen here as well, or at least I hope it is anyway, Matt. When we've gone.
Taking all that off.
And it looks like he's just going to paint the wall with it, look, all the floor.
Looks like Prince Charles is here.
He's made a perfect Prince Charles's ear hole.
So don't go all the way to the bottom, otherwise it will get kicked out, and that will be like a chippy's nightmare.
Right.
So you can start a couple of inches up.
Stop them.
So you can
I beg your pardon.
lay on from about there,
Yeah.
go up. And then if you've got enough on, you can go up, so go over the same bit.
There, yeah.
Up, and then go back down again. And then you can find your way down to the bottom.
Okay.
Lovely. That's enough. Hand it back over now, please. No, I'm starting to feel sick. No. You need to kick the bucket. So how do you feel about that then, Luke?
Terrible.
It is horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Horrible.
You know you can be more confident with that.
Oh, with that not tipping it off.
Yeah, so
Oh, and I just need to address something. We did a bit of a short, didn't we? If you can pee, you can paint, you can plaster. Now, I think people got the wrong end of the stick of that, because I had a few nasty comments back to that saying, "Well, yes, you obviously can't."
Really?
We were joking because we were doing it. Me and Matt were doing it. It was a joke, knowing full well it is the complete opposite of what we said. It was only a joke. Please get a grip of yourselves.
If I'm making a joke about my own plastering.
I know, yeah, I know. Well,
your pearl.
you know, I don't think you can, mate. I don't think you can. You want to check, you would. I don't think you. Oh, whatever. God,
Get over it.
get over yourself.
Tell you what, you want to grow up.
You want to grow up. So we finished the day yesterday with me just concrete boarding the stud work that I did before we went to see Matt and Luke had to go out plastering. And then we've come in this morning and had a really good tidy up, which I'm really happy with. That looks a lot better. I think I've already showed you this, but we've tidied everything, moved everything. That's just all the bricks and blocks we've got to take with us. That's a bit of sand, and all this is all raked, and all the bits of bibbles have gone, all bits of wood, bits of rubbish. So I'm pleased with that. The weather's not as great as yesterday, but I'm going to go up there now and put my drips on, ready for Jay, our single ply roofer, who's coming tomorrow. Fingers crossed, all being if the weather's okay, because it's a Saturday. And he'll get that watertight for us. We've got a bit of drip in there at the minute, which inevitable really when you've got a 2.5 or 1.5 metre opening. But hopefully he'll cover that in, and we can properly cover that over, ready for Tuffex to come and put our large framed skylight on for us, which would be good. Well, we'll put it on, but we're going to get it delivered from them. So we've got plenty planned for today. We're going to put finish the insulation on the floor in the extension. We're going to put the ducting in. We're going to put the 100mm on top of that once we've cut all the grooves out to go over the top, which I'll show you in a minute. And Matt is going to do the bonding where I did the concrete board in the bathroom. So let's do it. Right, well we've caught a bit of this. Put all the 50 down now, and we've started to tape all the joints. We put this all the way through this ducting look, and we put the couplers on, and then we're going to put a little bit more on there, put the bends on, and then that'll go into the back of an air brick. We put our perimeter timber on, perimeter at 25mm all the way around. You then maybe caught it on the time lapse. We cut this out, so that sits like that, look, and goes over the top of our ducting. All we're going to do with that now is you're going to, once we've done this one, is put a good liberal amount of foam on top of that ducting and then push that down top of it, and then that'll fill that void again. But we've got 150 of insulation in this floor now, so that's more than adequate. Standard is 100mm. So we're going to get this finished. All the yellow you can see there. The battery went off then, sorry about that. So we've sort of, we've started again, haven't we? I wanted to get the battery. So the radon barrier, I think I caught it, I'm not sure, but all he's done is he's sort of temporary taped the joints there with just some gaffer tape, and then on the overlaps you have to put, I don't know if you can see it in there, that there, look, that bit of black you can see there, look, underneath there, that is like, oh that's it there, isn't it? So he's sort of held it with this stuff, and then you have to put this stuff on the joins then, which is a double-sided gas tape, isn't it, Luke? Cut to the end. There it is. There it is, look. So you put that on and then you peel that white off, and that's what does the joints. But it does help when you put this on like that. You can put, there's an overlap there, 150 is at the overlap.
Yes, yeah.
So you put that in between the two, and then we then put that on as well, just to stop it flapping up really. You do that with all your corners. And then that'll act as our DPM as well, won't it?
It will.
As well as our, but it's a lot thicker than standard DPM anyway, so it's even better.
And then there's going to be another one on top of this as well, isn't there?
There is indeed. When Martin comes, yeah, do another one, yeah, that's right. That's more than adequate. So let's go see what Matt's been up to while you cut the groove in that, I'm presuming. Cut the groove in that, ready to malt it all out again. Yep. Get into the groove. Get a bit of Madonna on the go. So this is how it finished last night. I called it concrete board, it's not a cement board, isn't it? Or cement backer board. Did that, cut that all out around there, ready for the tiler. Put the niche in. That's been fixed on there with the that Ilbrook gun adhesive glue, and also a gunned adhesive that we got from MKM. So I used this one, which is for wood and stone. Absolutely superb glue. Very, very good. You ain't getting nothing off once you're stuck with that. And also, I also used, because a little bit of undulation in the timber on here, so I used it on this one. But I've concrete boarded or cement boarded that as well. Cut the plasterboard out of there, look, and that's all been changed all the way up to that joint. And then Matt's just bonded that in this morning just to make it look nicer. So yes, this has got to be covered now with the tape the joints and a primer, a waterproof primer. But the tiler's going to do that. He'll span these joints, put his tape on. It's got like a tanking tape, which he's already got for us, so he said he'd do it rather than buying some more. And Matt's bonded and floated all of this walling, so that's good. And then he's obviously started making up this bit of a sill just to make sure it's flat and looks nice. Tiler ready for the tiler again. Luke and Matt are going to continue in the extension, putting the insulation down and get that ready for Martin on Monday. And I'm now going to come in here and put the timber on there and drop it down to, excuse me, drop it down to the top of the window, for then we return the board on there, and then we can fill that then for a rock wall. So we're now at Monday, and this is all complete. Right, we're now put a piece of insulation at the top, bit of 50mm insulation at the top there, and put a bit of foam on it. So that's all gone off nice and hard now. So I made my little beam, as you saw. So that's a couple of CLS, and then a 20mm offcut I'd got on the floor for when I did my diminishing buttons on the roof. So I've used that. And then put it on with an 18mm piece of ply all the way in and clipped in the window, and then that'll carry the plasterboard now, and foamed all that in as well. You saw me put all the insulation there. I put some rock wool in there as well, so that's as packed with insulation as it possibly can be. The single ply roofer come over the weekend and did a fair bit. He's back today, but we are joined again today with Callum, who's now doing the DPO on the floor, and Martin, who's gone to use the little boy's room. So I'll see him in a minute. This is going to be nearly prepped now. We were a little bit high there, which we didn't like. I think it must rise up a little bit, because remember we've got 150 mil in here, not 100. So we've took a piece of 100 mil out and put a piece of 50 in there, because we weren't happy. It was about 30 mil, and I didn't like it. Even though Martin said it was okay because it's cement based. We've cut it back to where it starts to rise and put 50 mil in. So we've now got 100 mil there, 150 mil there. So it's still good. Plus that'll give us a bit of thickening then against the floorboards, which I think is a lot better. So I'll leave Callum to do that now, and then we'll have a look on the roof what he's done so far. So it was a windy one on Saturday, and a lot of rain, but initially anyway, and then it stopped, so he managed to get his trims on, and then he came on Sunday and started mechanically fixing all of his membrane, vinyl, rubber, not rubber, it's a PVC membrane, and started doing a bit of welding. So I started welding all the joints in, getting all that prepped. He's gone up there so far, so I'll leave that for now. We've stripped this off ready for when he comes, but hopefully back today, with it being such a nice day today, just to get all this done, and then myself and Luke will get this covered over again to make it watertight. So again, we'll show you that when he comes, because it was a bit of an early start this morning to make sure we're in front of Mark, because he likes to come nice and early. So right then, let's get on with the day. Well, Martin has been and gone. I've dropped a few bits in it, but it's got to be sanded, and then it's got to be latex over the top, so I'm not too fussed about that. Yeah, so that's done. I didn't film much of that because we have got it on the channel. If you want to see a full process of it, I think I filmed this twice now, exactly what he has to do, why he does what he does. So if you want to go on that, look back on the channel, there's others. I think they're entitled Flow Screed, and there's a couple of them on the channel anyway, so have a look at that. I've been messing and struggling to get these beams in, so what I've done is, look, I've talked about it already. I've put a triple beam in there, and I've already you've just seen on the footage just me nailing it for now, all together. I've squeezed it into there and held it up for now by a piece of timber. What we're going to do now when Luke comes back is we're going to put a pad stone across the block work there to carry that because of where it's situated. I thought it might end up closer to the face of the brick, but as it is, it's in the centre. It's probably a lot better there. And we'll use the pad stone that we didn't use for the steel because we used engineering bricks to span that cavity to sit that on. Reason for this going in is sort of two or threefold really. Firstly, it's to carry the beam, a double beam on top of that now to go across here to Bird's Mouth to carry all this roof, so this can come out. Secondly, it's to carry, I don't even know what the thought process behind the summer beam was, but it clearly doesn't do what it's meant to do because it's meant to be carrying the span of these long lengths, look, because there's another one there, but that's fair enough because it's in the wall both sides. That's doing what it should be doing. But here, there were 3 screws in it, this side, and 1 nail this side, to hold it together, that one existing to this new one. So I don't know what it was doing. I don't know where the bracings come from. So what I'm gonna have to do is I should make sure these are level, and I should prop it up a little bit if I have to, and then you can see there's a little bit of sort of 1.5 inch timber on the side there, look. I'll take that off because it's only been screwed on. And then I'll get some 50mm jiffy hangers and I shall go out over that end of that summer beam and over the end of this one and lap them over the top of my triple then, and that'll look a lot better. And that'll hold that summer beam and do what it should be doing, carrying the span of this. That's what it should be doing. So yes, that's that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm also going to get the coach screws and coach bolts, and then coach bolt this all the way across now. And that's, at least that's set then. I've got to go and fetch my jiffy hangers. I'm sure I've got some at home in the garage. And once that's just propped by this timber for now. I'm not going to put another screw in that because there's a little bit of weight in that now. And then what I'm going to have to try and do is, once the screed's dry and I can get over the top of it, is maybe get into fix some bolts from this rafter. Let me get you in shot, this rafter into the side of the beam as well. However, what I will do is I'll put a twist strap on the side of that anyway and come down the face of this and put a noggin in the steel. And then we can board that over with a pink board when we do that. So that's my plan. I'm going to try and get myself set up now to try and get into here to set out where I need to put my double timber on the top of that one over there. And then I've got to try and cut out my block work as well to stick it in the block. Try and get that done, and then hopefully by that point it's ready for lunchtime. But before then, and while I've been doing this, Jay has been doing the single ply roof up the top, cracking on with that. So let's go and have a look. So here it is. It's all going well. He's just on the upstand now. What he's going to do is he's put his trims all the way around, and then this gets welded onto there like that. And then that's where we put our, cover all the mastic bead on that then like that. And the lantern, not the lantern, sorry, the framed flat glass comes down, sits on there, mastic, and then drops down the face then. So that's more than sealed. We've sealed this part here by putting another piece of lead in. We'll just square that lead up before we finish and dress that onto the tile. Once he's got his, he's got to put a piece on top of this now, up the roof, and he'll dress it under that row of tiles there. That's right, is it, Jay? Jay, will you dress your piece on the roof now that goes up the timber I've put in, up the roof, and go underneath that tile?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go underneath the tile there, and where you put the lead, and okay.
Yeah, and you'll go over the top of the lead.
Over the top of the lead and underneath that tile, yeah, that's so. So if you remember, when I put that piece of 80mm OSB all the way across there, you go up that like that and underneath the tile, so at least it's, again, seals the junction where this roof meets that roof. So that's that. I'll leave him to it, I'm not disturbing too much. But we'll come and have a look before we cover it back over, because tonight all we've got to do is just cover the lantern tonight, because this is all now waterproof, or it will be before the end of the day. So we're back and we're blessed with the sunshine again. So we finished last night, didn't we, Luke?
We did.
By putting the pad stones in under the beams that I'd already done. So we put a pad stone at the back first and then filled the front in with a block. So that spans the cavity because of where they're sitting there, I haven't really got a choice. So that timber can come out now. My acros have all come out because these are all other than fixing those to that wall plate, which I think at the minute that's good. That's just angles toss screwed into that. And what we did then was the offcut of pad stone that we cut to depth across there. We then put in the bottom of this one and then infilled it with the thermalite block. Now I'm not quite sure if you caught the way I did these up there, but all I did was, if you can see it there, look, I'll zoom in if I can. I just put that first back one on there onto a packer and on top of this beam here to make sure it was level. And then I just levelled off the top of it back into the rafter to get my seat cut, if you like, and then measured my third, which meant that my width of my seat cut was about 80mm. So I measured back 80mm, plumbed down, and then got a line from one end to the other and cut them off. And then what I did was I used that foaming glue that we used for the cement board the other day, which is actually very good. I just said to Luke, it looked like crap stuff, didn't it, Luke? Oh no, Luke's there, gone. Hello. It looked like Matt's there instead. I'm just saying that stuff we bought that we thought was crap from MKM, it was actually very good, wasn't it?
Yeah. He said he found it quite well.
It was in a tube, but it foams up. In fact, you can just about see the remnants of it there. Look, a little bit, all foamed up. So it was very good. So I got that one in first, and then screwed it into the bird's mouth, and then put this one on with glue, loads of nails, and then finished off with the those turbo coach bolts. So that's nice and solid now. Hence, we've been able to take all the acros out. What I'm going to do though is that beam there, which has come out of this roof, if you remember it was the wall plate, I'm actually going to cut that in on top of there now as well, just to support that, because if you can see those tails of the ceiling joists there, they're only supported by, I don't know if you can see it there, there's what, 2 nails or something in each nail plate, which is just a bit wrong, isn't it? You can hear that going for one reason. Last night, myself and Luke said, right, let's just get this, let's get this up here. And I said, oh, do you think we should put a plank in the middle? Because what could happen is you could, if this blows, you could, and I dropped it. So now we've had to buy back a latex, and we're now en masse to get this done. And we look like we've had someone's been in to have a look. I reckon they have to chunky Kit Kats, Luke, I think. It's a good job you finished them all last night, isn't it? Yeah. So we've just blocked the bottom of these up now as well. But. So there we are. So we get this done, and then we're off to another job, aren't we? Yes. For a few hours anyway. Yeah. Are you coming back to plaster this today? Do you think?
Whoa. Not be so hasty, Mr. Frodo.
It's only half eight, isn't it? We've already been here half an hour messing about.
Just see how it goes.
Let's not push the day too far. So anyway, we're going to progress, and whatever you see next is what we're doing, I suppose. I've just put that bit of 4x2 on top of there, look, so I'm just going to cut and scribe on top of that now to make sure that goes in nice and tight. And then I'm going to work out how I'm going to support the end of these up, because as you can see, not the best. But there we are. So I've completed the wall plate up there, and in the end what I did was the, I think it was more like a 4x3 I think, or 5x3, something like that. I used that was the wall plate originally. I've used that on top of the steel instead because when I put the 4x2 on, there was a bit of a gap, so I thought there's no point packing it, but I could just cut a little bit more out. And I'll show you in a minute, but what I've done is I made sure that comes to the face of this, of here now, level with the existing wall plate. So what I'll probably do now is to carry those ceiling rafters that I've talked about that I've only got a couple of nail plates on. We'll probably fix the timber onto the wall plate I've just put on and the existing all the way through, and then sit those on top of this then. I think that's probably the best idea. I was probably out of shot then. So that's going to go against the existing wall plate and the new wall plate, and then sit them on top of here, and we'll screw that into the wall plate and bolt it in. And then that'll then form the wraparound of the pink boarding for the steel then as well. So that's what we'll do. I've decided to clear underneath here because that was rubbish under this floor and I don't like it. There's no need for it. It's all gone, it's all clean, it's all swept, so it's a lot tidier. I've then gone ahead, as you've seen onto the footage there, I've gone ahead and ripped out all the old feeds and copper feeds, because the mains was if you remember, there was a stab of copper behind the camera sticking through the floor. That was the old sink. That was the mains incoming there, and the ones that come across here and all across there were all coming off it, the hot and cold over there. These two that are here with the stop ends on are something to do with the radiator, the heating system, sorry. But underneath that chipboard there's a lot of spaghetti junction going on. But Sean's back on Friday, so he'll first fix this for us properly, hot and cold back up to here, dishwasher feed, etc. And then I'll get him to have a look at this this mess here that was maybe to a radiator somewhere else. This is the gas pipe, so I'll get him to cut this back, or he may even suggest leaving it in the floor and having it poking up under plinth line, just so it's accessible for any future people that move in to put a gas fire in, or a gas cooker or whatever. So, or the customer changes their mind in a couple of years. So we might probably more likely do that. But what we will do, along with the wires as well, we'll clip this proper to the joists before the floor goes down properly. All the cables, which is what I said to Lee, the ones like this one, all this here, these all get clipped to the side of the joists now, because I did say I'd do that once all this floor come up. The ones that are chucked out the way now, I'll put them back in here and bring them through the chipboard flooring when I do that. But I think what I'll do now is I'm going to remove the last couple of cut floorboards underneath the camera, and then start my chipboard that side and work my way this way. And then before I put my last one down, I'm going to put my stud on there like that, double sole plate on top of there. Once I've done, well, the other job I've got to do first is put a timber in there, and I'm going to double this one up and go over there. So that's that. I'll then run my stud work all the way through here for this wall, and then that'll be another job done. So we'll crack on with that. I'll answer my phone and we'll see how we get on. Right, well, I went blasting ahead and realised I hadn't shown you anything. I just didn't put the camera back on. My apologies. The last footage you would have seen would be drilling this out. So I've put that in there, and that's sat flush with this one. I've then put a 4x3 from there onto, at the moment, just some tile packers and a blue packer there, just to hold that right. And same over there and same here, just some top to get it all level and flat where it needs to be. The idea now is what I'm going to do is I'm going to compo underneath that. So I'll get when Luke comes tomorrow, compo all that in. They're going to put some bricks in there or put some stud work and then compo all that in as well, so these don't move. So that's that. All I've had to do, I've just started to put my first chipboard flooring down, so that's cut all around there. But what I did have to do is I had to go over all of the, let me just move this. I had to go over all of my existing joist stuck and plane a little bit off, because some of them were just a little bit high, a little bit low. So. And then what I've had to do is just that one of them there, look, I've had to put a bit of a packer under it, make like a bit of a prop just for that last joist, because there's no bricks or anything there. Someone's obviously hacked it out and it wasn't supporting anything. No wonder the floor was bouncing, because there was nothing underneath that at all. So I've done that now. So again, my apologies for not showing you anything, but I completely forgot to turn the camera on. I've had a few phone calls and a few things to sort out, so we've done that. So I did say I'd show you this, didn't I? So that's what I did, look. I did that in the end. So I'll put that on top of there like that, all across there. That sits nicely on top of all there. So that supports the end of those rafters now, which is what was my concern was. And then what I said then I did was that is all sitting flush, look, up there. And as I talked about before, I'll just fix the timber all the way across there now, just support that little bit of ceiling joist there, look. So it'll sit underneath there like that, centre screen, and support that, because that's not really supported by them at the moment, is it? So that's what I'm going to do there. So I'm going to continue now, get all these dry fitted, because as I've already said, Sean's coming on Friday in a couple of days' time. So I can leave this dry fit for now, let him sort the plumbing out, and then we can put it down properly. What I'm also going to get Luke to do when he's here is a little bit of wooden packers in the side of these joists as well. So what we're going to do is we'll mix some plenty compo, and we'll compo all these holes in as well when we compo all this in. So I'll probably put a few bricks in there as quick as it's going to take to do that. So that's what we'll do. Get all that done. So I'll get this chipboard down. Gives me a good platform to work off then to get my stud working.